Pastor Johnson, our dear distinguished honorees, Derry Alexander, Reverend DeGraff, our dear friends, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great honor for me as an official representative of the State of Israel to be standing here in front of you tonight in this magnificent church, the last place that Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King visited in New York before his assassination. This place has a special meaning for all of us in Israel and here in America. In the Jewish tradition, we tell the story of this man who had a dream. And in his dream, he was walking on the beach while his God was walking alongside him. Up in the sky, flashes, pictures from this man's life. And in each picture, he notices two sets of footprints in the sand. One of his and one of his God. As the last picture of his life appeared, the man looked back at the footprints. And much to his amazement, he sees that in the most difficult and painful episodes of his life, there was only one set of footprints in the sand. The man turned to his God and asked, "Dear God, you told me that if I follow you, you will be there for me. You will guard me wherever I go. But in my hardest of times, I saw only one set of footprints in the sand. How could you leave me? How could you do that when I needed you most?" God then answered, "My son, I will never leave you. When your suffering was great and you saw only one set of prints in the sand, know that they weren't yours. They were mine, carrying you on my shoulders." Now, I decided to tell you this story from the Jewish tradition tonight because I believe that the story of Dr. King is not just a story of a great man who had a great vision. It's the story of those few in our society, in our lives, that have the ability to carry us all on their shoulders. We Jews all over the world know how difficult it is to walk alone in a world full of hatred and prejudice. We know how vital it is and how empowering it can be to have true allies, to be indeed carried on the shoulders of those who see the way clearly, as Dr. King did, who are fearless to stand up against injustice, who speak up for the persecuted in a voice that is loud and clear. That is the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King. Dr. King's ambition was to repair the world, and he waited for nobody. This is the essence of the special bond that was formed over the years between the founding fathers of the State of Israel and Dr. King's legacy and Dr. King himself. Just like Dr. King, the Zionist movement and the State of Israel as its ultimate embodiment has aspired to shape their own destiny based on equality, solidarity, good neighborliness, and social justice. Our founding fathers, too, waited for nobody. We feel a very special connection with the vision and values of Dr. King, who in return always expressed his friendship with the State of Israel. 1 month before his assassination, in March of 1968, Dr. King said the following: "I see Israel, and never mind saying it, as one of the greatest outposts of democracy in the world, and a marvelous example of what can be done, how desert land almost can be transformed into an oasis of brotherhood and democracy." Those were the words of Dr. King himself. He understood how precious is the friendship between African Americans and the Jewish people, who both share the goal of fighting racism, hatred, and prejudice. Tonight, I am proud to note that Israel is the only country outside the United States that officially commemorates Martin Luther King Day on an annual basis. As part of the sacred tradition, the President of the State of Israel, Shimon Peres, invited Martin Luther King III to meet in Jerusalem several years ago. This meeting further strengthened our friendship and reinforced our shared values, reassuring that they will forever guide us toward peace in the Holy Land. During our 63 years of independence, we paid an unimaginable price for our freedom. Time and again, we encountered hatred and animosity and hostility. While resorting to violence and revenge can be tempting to some, we always admired Dr. King's insistence on the belief that ultimately the human spirit will overcome the sword. The State of Israel pays tribute to outstanding individuals who embody the spirit and ideals of Dr. King through their efforts to promote diversity and tolerance. Over the years, together with our partners, the JCRC and the JNF, we have marked the accomplishments of such notables as the great jazz musician Lionel Hampton, Nobel Prize author Toni Morrison, NBA star Allen Houston, hip-hop producer Russell Simmons, opera virtuoso Jesse Norman, just to name a few. They have all followed the footsteps of Dr. King, and just like him, stand for what is right. They too wait for nobody. This year, we're honoring two very special individuals of remarkable personal achievement and communal impact. Reverend DeGraff and TV personality Derry Alexander, who just like Dr. King are great friends of the State of Israel and serve as role models in their own communities. Reverend DeGraff, you are a man of great vision who is tirelessly safeguarding the future of his own people. You are devoted to the education of the next generation about tolerance, creativity, and hard work. We had the privilege and the honor of hosting him in our office, and we witnessed that firsthand, that unique ability to educate at the highest level possible. You see the road ahead clearly, and you inspire others to follow through. It is your footsteps that your people see in the sand. Ms. Derry Alexander, your various talents and infinite grace are truly inspiring to all of us. As an African-American woman, you serve as a role model for men and women alike in America and across the ocean. As one of the first reporters at Ground Zero on September 11th, you have seen in your own eyes what can happen when hatred and ignorance raise their ugly head. Your presence on our TV screen and in the battlefields of Pakistan and Afghanistan, and I know that you've been to Jerusalem and worked there as well, is a source of enormous optimism and pride to all of us. Tonight, we are proud to partner with two great organizations, the Jewish National Fund, a bastion of tolerance and unity in our community for over a century, and the Jewish Community Relations Council, the JCRC, headed by our dear friend Rabbi Michael Miller, who is our longtime partner in building bridges between the African American community, the Jewish community of New York, and the State of Israel. On behalf of the State of Israel, I thank all of you for your friendship and salute to you for following the footsteps of Dr. Martin Luther King. Let me conclude with this. Dr. King had said a long time ago that even if he knew that tomorrow the world will be destroyed, he would still plant his apple tree. I suggest that we too, even under the toughest of circumstances, join hands in planting our apple trees, as many as possible, and do it together. God bless you all. Now it gives me a great pleasure on behalf of all the partnering organizations to present the award to our beloved Derry Alexander of Channel 5 Fox. Derry, please accept